I'm not gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Neither team deserved this win, but Colts win. We sweep the Titans for the first time since 2018, and now we are 7-5 on the season. We remain in playoff contention, and if the Steelers lose, their game has been delayed a lot due to weather conditions, and I believe they're down 17-3 at the time of making this, but they could come back. And if the Browns lose, that doesn't mean much, of course, but we are still in playoff conversation. And did I mention we sweep the Titans for the first time since 2018 when we had Andrew Luck? But looking over the game, it was not that good for us, to be honest. In the first quarter, we put up 7 points. They put up 10. In the second, we put up 6. They put up 7. In the third, they put up 9. We put up 9. They put up 2 because basically we had 2 punt blocks today. One went for a touchdown, and the other went to the 5-yard line, which we only got a field goal on. Or did Minshew turn the ball over there? I don't remember, but Minshew did have a fumble this game. He did not have an interception. But they got a pick 2 on our touchdown punt return. It was really weird because it said they got a touchdown, and I was all confused. But they made it 2 points again. And in the fourth quarter, we scored 3 points. They scored 6. They actually missed an extra point. We'll get into that a bit later. And in overtime, they drove down the field and got 3 points. But we threw a dart. We got down to the 4. And Minshew throws it to Michael Pittman for the win. By the way, that long shot was the Pierce, who had one of his best game. I believe his best game of all time. We'll get on to that now. Gardner Minshew had a pretty decent game passing. He wasn't a horrible passer. He did fumble once. I'm starting to lose faith in Minshew, honestly. He just blows it in big moments, in my opinion. And that's not good for us. It's unfortunate, again, that we don't have Anthony Richardson. We would probably be like 8-3 or 9-3, whatever it is. Oh, yeah, 9-3. We'd probably be like 9-3 or 8-4 or something. Well, we should already be 8-4 if the refs didn't want to screw us in that Browns game. But that's all in the past now. Will Levis. Surprisingly, Minshew outplayed Levis. Will Levis threw 16 for 33 for 224 yards and touchdown. And Gardner Minshew threw 26 for 42 for 312 and 2 touchdowns. So, even though Gardner Minshew played worse, in my opinion, he played better than Levis. And that's always good because they're playing the Titans. Zach Moss surprisingly had a bad day, and Derrick Henry popped off on us. Like always. Derrick Henry, 21 carries, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, he got a concussion. Fourth quarter, he did not come back. Their backup played pretty well. We'll get into that. Feel bad for Derrick Henry. I hope he's good so he can get traded to a team like the Eagles or something. So we never have to play him again. But Zach Moss surprisingly did not do that good today. 19 carries for 51 yards. I mean, we just had a terrible day rushing. The Titans defense played really well against our rushing attack, which I'm pretty surprised about because last time Zach Moss had his best game of all time against them. Michael Pittman Jr., we need to pay that guy. 11 receiving, 105 yards, and a touchdown to win the game. Man, is he good. We need him for the future. He is wide receiver 1, unless we get a good one out of the draft, which I don't think we're going to do. But he is wide receiver 1, and he's a great receiver, dude. Like, we need to pay him. And DeAndre Hopkins also played pretty well against us. 5 receiving, 75 yards, a touchdown. I know he probably feels bad about going to the Poverty Titans now that his team's losing. I remember all the people saying the Titans would go like 10-7, 11-6, 9-8 since they got DeAndre Hopkins. They're 4-8 right now. So happy about that. Again, DeAndre Hopkins was never bad, but it's just he shouldn't have went to the Titans, honestly. He deserves better. But get into our player stats. Other than Zach Moss, Minshew threw it 3 times for 2 yards. Again, I don't like when Minshew runs. He's not that good of a runner. Branson got 1 for 2 with an amazing, was it third? It was either a 3rd down or 4th down call. Shane Steichen's just such a good coach, man. He dials up the smartest plays on 3rd and short or 4th and short. Receiving, other than Pittman, Pierce had one of his best days of all time. 3 receiving, 100 yards in the touchdown. Usually, he only gets like 1 big catch and maybe some others. But Pierce played amazing today. And he is making a pretty good case to get paid whenever he's ready. I don't exactly know when we would need to pay him again, of course. But, again, Pierce... If Pierce does better, if Pierce does stuff like this every game, being our deep man, and he gets a lot of catches and a lot of yards, I think we should keep him, not as our wide receiver 3, but like wide receiver 4, like our slot receiver going down. I think Pierce is a pretty good receiver. Other than Pierce, Granson got 3 for 72. Downs had an off game today, only 3 for 14. Goodson caught 2 for 11. Moss caught 2 for 6. Valori got 2 for 4. And Ogletree and Sermon caught 0 passes, and of course did not get a yard. Our defense was not the best day for sacks, but we got 4, 4.5, 5. Yeah. We got 6 sacks. It did not feel like we got 6 sacks. It really didn't. The only turnovers we got were not from interceptions. One of the punt blocks counted as a fumble, so that is a turnover. But we had 2 punt blocks today. So really good special teams effort from our team right here. 6 sacks, of course, on our defense, which is really good. Surprisingly, Franklin had an off day. He only was 1 tackle, 4 assists. He's still really, really good, though. McKenzie made 1 kick return, I believe it was at the beginning of the game, for 36 yards. Again, he's not the best, but we're just going to have to deal with him. Punt returns, McKenzie went 3 for 25. Again, not the best. Kicking, Matt Gay went a perfect 4 for 4 and got 13 points on the day from our touchdowns. Again, this is why we paid a kicker, and this is why we get a kicker that doesn't miss extra points. I do know that the Titans did have a replacement holder, but Tannehill didn't hold that bad on that one, so I'm going to blame that one on the kicker. And Rigoberto Sanchez, again, one of the best punters in the league, 5 for 36, 5 for 256 yards, and he did not get 1 in 20 this time. For the Titans, again, other than Derrick Henry going out with a concussion, unfortunately, Ryan Stonehouse, another one of the best punters in the league, got injured on one of our second punt block, and I feel bad for him. I think he's out for the season. He's one of the best punters in the league, of course, behind Rigoberto Sanchez, of course, but yeah, he was a really good punter, and I hope he can bounce back next season. Folk punted for the first time in his career. He 2 for 81. He actually did pretty good, surprisingly, but back up to the top, of course. Again, Spears cooked us, 16 for 75. Other than that, Will Levis ran 2 for 5. Hawkins ran 1 for 4. Okonkwo ran 1 for 2. And again, they counted that second one as a fumble, so that's why he has 1 for a negative 11. But it was a punt block, really. Other than Hopkins, Okonkwo got 3 for 62. Westbrook got 1 for 28. Henry caught 1 for 18. Wild caught 1 for 16. Spears caught 4 for 13. Moore caught 1 for 12. And Weska did not catch 1. For their defense, they did not get an interception on us. They did get a fumble. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. 3 sacks on the day. Surprisingly, they only had 3 sacks when Gardner Minshew was playing frantically, like always. Kick returns, Spears caught 2 for 40. Garer, is that his name? Went 4 for 36. Folk kicked a perfect 2 for 2 for 8 points. Again, he missed one of those extra points, which, kind of got us the win, of course. But on to team stats. They outplayed us on yards. We had way more passing yards than Poverty Will Levis, obviously, but they destroyed us on the rushing game. So that's why we had less yards than them, of course. We had more yards per play, though, so that's good. We had 19 first downs. They had 25, probably because we had a bunch of big plays. We were 3 for 14 on third down. They were 6 for 17, which is not good. We were 1 for 1 for fourth down. They were 0 for 1. Total plays, we had 68. They had 81. Sacks, we allowed 3. They allowed 6. Punts, we had 5. They had 7. We had 4 penalties for 29 yards. 9 penalties for 74 yards. The refs weren't horrible this game, surprisingly. Again, they're not the best. Some calls were blown. This time, it wasn't biased towards the Colts. Both teams technically lost 2 fumbles, but neither team threw an interception. We had 31 minutes possession. They had 38. So what's next for us? Well, obviously, what's next for the Titans is that they go 4-13, and I don't know what they do from there. But the Colts, our next game is against the Bengals without Joe Burrow. This was one of the games I marked on my schedule like, we're not winning that whatsoever. But without Joe Burrow, we actually have a good chance to win that. It'll all depend on how the defense plays for Cincinnati. If the defense plays good for Cincinnati, it could be a close game. But if we can destroy the defense for Cincinnati, I think we're going to easily win that game. But, of course, we're still 7th. We're still 7th in the playoff hunt. The Steelers are down 17-3, of course. Unfortunately, they lost Kenny Pickett. If Kenny Pickett stays out, we might have a good chance getting the Steelers as well. But I'm not sure if they drop to 7-5, we'll jump them up and become the 6th seed. I'm not sure. But unfortunately, with the Broncos loss to the Texans still are 7-5. But we still have the tiebreaker over them. We're 7-5. We need 3 game drops for the Jaguars and 3 wins for us to take the lead in the division. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. But a man can dream. But other than that, that's all I really have to say. I hope you have a good time watching the stressful games of the Indianapolis Colts. And I'll see you next time. Peace.